Yes, welcome back fellas to this week's lap guide. It is Daily Race C at Dragon Trail Seaside. Few different cars looking pretty handy around here. TT, Venron and the Viper. And as you can see, cruising past on your screen now, we've chosen the Viper. Fairly partial to an FR car, if I do say so myself. So we're running brake balance, rear 2, 1 was no good, 3 was almost as good as 2, but in the end I felt 2 just being a little bit better. Death chicane right at the end of the lap. It's not too bad though, because it is Group 4, we're approaching there a lot slower, so it is full noise, just get your line right. So without further ado, let's jump on board and make our way down to turn 2. So yeah, just putting the right hand wheels up on this curb just to help pull the car around the corner a bit. Braking just next to the 150 board, so when your bonnet's halfway down the red stuff, or next to the 150 board if you're in the old rear chasing view. Getting up onto the curb just to open the entry, a late downshift into 3 using all the curb and some back on the power as quick as possible. A little bit of a lift over the brow here. If you do have the line right, sometimes you can get through there at wide open, but a little safety lift just to push your way through there. Keeping to the left hand side of the road now, we are going to jump this curb on the right hand side. So right hand wheels behind the curb, left hand wheels just over the top of the curb, running out all the way to the left hand side, jumping on the picks just before we get there. Hold 3 as long as you can, pick up 2 as you make your way down to the apex, and we want to be wide open throttle with the car pointing to the curb on the outside as soon as possible. The car will turn. Looking for, I think we're looking for a 34-35 in the first split there. Now I like to rest my foot on the brake and turn here. You can use 4th if you like, but I found just rolling through in 5th wasn't bad. Picking up the throttle really quickly. Now we're trying to run the left hand tires over the top of that curb. That's what that forces the car around that right hander really quickly. You'll see when we approach there at full noise that one can be a little bit tricky. You do have to use that curb if you want to maximize your lap time. So we're going to be in 6th, braking around the 150 board again. Yep, so the curb's just started on the left-hand side. We're not on the curb, but we are going to run down onto the curb there. Nice little triangle deceleration zone. Pretty long threshold zone. Trying to time the trail brake here is the tricky part. I'm holding 3rd, waiting for 2nd a little bit longer. That just rotates the car a little bit better, and we can jump on the juice coming out of there real quick. Using the left-hand tyres on that curb, that helps correct the car and push it down the straight. So this is a wide open all the way through here. Use all the curb, not so much of this second one, just a little nibble at it. Now we want to be turning in before this curb ends, and as you can see there, pretty much abusing the track limits as much as possible, so we stay through there in 5th gear flat out. Just a shift up before the shadow, just running the tightest line we can around that left-hander, just trying to minimize the distance. Start to open it up so we can get some triangle brake zone here. Braking a little, feels like a little bit before the curb, but it's actually a long way from the curb, probably about the 150, 130 sort of area. Holding 4th, trying to decelerate the car and get it turned, so it's a really light trail brake. Then we're going to just have that coast period there in the middle, because that's almost a U-turn that you're trying to get done there. Stay in 3rd and push the car out. 2nd will decelerate the car too much in the middle of that corner, so you want to stay in 3rd and just get to wide open throttle a little bit quicker, staying to the left hand side for the shortest run to the line. So now a little bit of chase cam so we can see how much of the track we're actually abusing. Really jumping these curbs, just running the outside tyre over the inside of the top of that curb. that opens up the second part of that chicane nicely. You'll see the same trick here, left-hand tyres over the top of the curb this time. Pretty much the whole car over the curb for that time, using the ridge on the top of that left-hand curb to straighten the car for you. Pretty much turning in from the white line here, roll down to the apex, pick up wide open throttle as soon as you make it. You can see the left-hand tyres are running right over the top of that curb. That does all the steering around that corner for you. Really crucial to nail that for the lowest lap times. Just a really late second shift there. Once you realise that you're going to be able to get on the accelerator nice and quickly, wide open throttle through here, just try and keep the car stable over that second curb, and now launch it over both those curbs. You're really trying to open up the second half of that so you don't run into the wall on the way out. Holding fourth here, just trying to decelerate the car while steering. There's a little bit of the smallest bits of cruises in the middle, or coasts in the middle of that corner while you're waiting for the car to turn. It is a U-turn and left hand side of the road for the shortest run to the line. So we'll pump through it again in fast mo. Just triangle those deceleration zones. Gives you an extra couple of meters of wide open throttle. The triangle just means start in the middle of the road and work your way all the way to the curb by the end of the braking zone and turn-in point. Using all that curb on the juice pretty much as you're going over that. So if you can't make it to full throttle, at least crack the throttle open, and then when you feel the car's not going to run onto the grass, give it some wide open. Coasting down to the apex. The ridge on all these curbs helps the car turn, and that middle one you're pretty much going to be running the track penalty. Another triangled brake zone up on the curb before we turn in, holding third, then down into second as we come towards the apex. All of the first curb, just a little nibble with the left-hand tyres on the second one. Turn in before the curb ends, and you should just understeer to the end of the curb, then open the steering and jump those islands in the middle and come out of there nice and straight with as much speed as possible. Holding fourth, letting the car roll down into the apex, and then another let it roll around the corner. Holding third so you don't decelerate too much. And then some wide open throttle to the line. So here we are on bumper cam. This is pretty much where I sign out, and just remind you that we have another Simcators episode out. This time we're talking all the gossip about Gran Turismo 7. We just run through our thoughts of cars and tracks and release dates and all that other jazz, so there'll be a link for that somewhere in the description and probably in the top right hand side of your screen. Thanks for tuning in. If you managed to find something that helped you, let us know with a like and subscribe, and a comment if you feel like it. Thanks fellas, I'll see you soon.